Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the easiest journal ever. And I stand by those words and you'll see why if you stick around. So this method stands out because it eliminates the need, wait for it, it eliminates the need to sew signatures into the cover. No needle and thread business, no tedious measuring, just a quick and straightforward process. And with over 1,000 journals under my belt, I can confidently say that this method not only saves time, but also results in a remarkably professional finish, don't you think? Oh, and another thing, the journal lays completely flat when opened. Doesn't matter where you open it, it's gonna lay flat, which to me is a huge bonus. Look at that. Oh, and another fun thing, it can open all the way. Oh yes. All right, enough talking. Let me show you what this is all about. When making journals, I usually always start with the cover. However, for this method, we make the signatures first. So I've already picked out my papers, and basically I know I want 5 signatures in my journal and I want 10 pages per signature. So that means I have 50 pages here. And they're all kind of tea dyed, coffee dyed, avocado dyed, onion skin dyed, or Easter egg dyed. I should have a playlist. This is Easter egg. I should have a playlist with all the dyeing videos, but dyeing videos, that didn't sound too good. Paper dyeing videos, let's say. So 50 pages I have here, and now I'm going to fold them in half and make 5 signatures. So of course, when you're building your signatures, I'm sure you know this, but at this point you can use any paper that you would usually put in a signature or in your journal. They don't have to be all the same size. I am liking this look of, I'll show you in a moment when I finish. All right, so here are my 5 signatures. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what I was going to say is, as you will now be able to see, I tried to use sort of different colors, different hues of dyed paper. I'm going for that kind of a look. So you can see kind of when they're all put together how it's going to look. That's the sort of vintagey feel I'm going for. But if you wish, you can use standard copy paper, you know, non-dyed, just white pages, or you can use book pages or whatever tickles your fancy. Okay, now we're going to make the signatures. So I just wanted to point out that 5 signatures with 10 pages each will give you 200 pages in your journal. So if you look at one page, you get 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 50 of these. So 4 times 50 is 200. Here it is, in case you don't believe me, or in case I was wrong, 200. Okay, so 200-page journal is a pretty good journal, right? Now we're going to pop this into a signature. So we're just nestling all the pages together. Perfect. Signature number 1 is done. And now we repeat the process for the others. And here it is. Okay, so that was easy, and that looks really, really scrumptious and cool. So like I said, up to you what you want to do with your pages. You can take this now and start embellishing and adding, which is what I've done over here. So you can see in this journal, I used all different types of pages and book pages, and I did, you know, pockets and sewing and all sorts of interesting stuff. So you can go ahead and do that too. I did some fabrics. You see fabrics on the sides, fabrics up the top, and just did a few different things. Or you can do what I'm going to do today and just keep those pages plain, just like that. All right, now that my signatures are ready, I'm going to make like a cover for each signature. You don't have to do this. You can use the first page as the cover for the signature. So you can completely skip the next step and pretend that this is your cover. All right. But basically what I'm going to do is add another layer of fun. And I'm just using these are just, I'm actually used them all up just from Kmart, kind of pretty pages that are printed on one side, and then they've got the white side, and it's kind of cardstockish, not quite, you know, I would say it's probably 100 GSM. Oh, well, totally wrong there. 160 GSM. So I need 5 of those, and they're going to be covers for my signatures. But interestingly enough, okay, so here's what's important at this point. The covers of your signatures have to be exactly the same size. So if you're making a junk journal, and let's say all of your pages are different sizes and you have this kind of thing going on and this is your signature, this isn't going to work as your cover. So all of your kind of top pieces or cover pieces have to be exactly the same for each signature. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I'm still warming up here. It just takes me a little while when I start filming to warm up. All right, so here's an interesting thing. When you're making a journal and you want to make a cover for a signature, you're thinking, well, I'm going to do it this way, right? Well, no, actually, you're going to do it the other way. So this is going to be the cover. The pretty side is going to be on the inside. It's going to be like this. Here's the cover for my signature. All right, that's going to be visible. This isn't going to be visible. Do that for all 5. And here we are. Each signature has a cover that's exactly the same size across the book. All right, so all 5 signatures, same size cover. Okay, at this point, before we continue, you can go ahead and, you know, ink some edges. I'm going to do a little bit of inking. I'll just speed it all up. You can add a bit of stenciling, you know, if you don't have pretty papers like this. I mean, this isn't really that pretty, but you can just use plain paper and go in and stencil, which is what I did over here. So you can see just a little bit of stenciling just to make it more fun. This one here, look at those beautiful pages. My goodness, I'm in love with this. So these are the covers that I used, and it was just plain paper, and I just stenciled to make it a little bit more appealing. So you can see that. And then over here, all right, so this now is the time to do any of that fun business. Well, it's actually not that fun doing it, but it's fun when it's done. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and ink some edges, and I'm focusing only here because this is not going to be visible. Okay, that's all done now. I just ink the edges on these little covers, and it just makes a difference to the finished product. And if you're still here, I assume you're interested in this project, as you should be, because let me take this opportunity to say that I made these 2 journals, full journals. Look how gorgeous. I'm not talking about little notebooks. I'm talking about 2 full journals in one day. Yesterday, I made these 2. Now, I also have children, a dog, a house, and cleaning and cooking and all that kind of stuff. So to say that I made 2 journals in one day, for me, it is a huge deal. I've made plenty of notebooks in one day before, like little things, like these kinds of things. I have a video on these, but that's different. These are little journals, like little notebooks. These are full journals. So I'm not sure if other people can make plenty of journals in one day, but I also get bored with the project, and I want to put it away and work on it tomorrow. So the fact that I did 2 journals along with all the other projects that I'm doing at the same time, it's a huge deal. So that is why I'm so excited about this project. And also the whole binding into the cover business, I just hate it so much. It's so tedious. So at this point, how do you go from this to that? As you know, now we have a whole bunch of loose pages. They have to be bound in some way. So first of all, we're not going to look at the book as a whole. We're going to look at an individual signature. We have 10 pages in the cover, let's say 11 pages. They have to be held together somehow. All right, I'm going to give you 3 ways of having the pages held together. And you have to do it for each signature. You have to bind the pages together somehow. So way number one is to use a stapler. And this is how I started this project. I use a stapler. So I have a long arm stapler. I'm going to do it on camera so you can see how it's done. But if you don't have this monstrosity, you can absolutely use a stapler like this that you have, and you just open it up like this. And then you staple your pages together, okay? Just like if you've noticed most of these store-bought exercise books, they're all held together with staples, okay? And that's what we're doing. Now that I have these out, you most definitely can skip the whole signature making part and just go straight to this. And this, you can make this into a book, all right? So following what we're gonna do from here. All right, let's staple away. So you need a nice soft surface if you're going to use this method. I'll demonstrate with both this one and the long arm stapler. So you want to get your signature and you want to open it, and you kind of want the creases to be aligned, and you also want to be stapling from the in. Well, actually you can decide if you want to staple from the inside. I like the feet, these things, I want them to be over here because this is going to be hidden when we're finished. So that's just my thing. It's totally up to you. So my pages are nestled nicely together, and now I am going to staple right here in the middle. And this first attempt didn't work, and that happens sometimes. This stapler is just old and doesn't listen. Okay, that worked. I had to move the green thing from underneath. And now what's going to happen if you're using this kind of a method, you're going to have these open little prongs over here. I don't know what they're called. And you're simply going to close them down just like this. Okay, here we go. And basically what you want is for your stapler to be right in the crease, and also to be on the crease here. Sometimes when you start doing it, what will happen is you might have your stapler go off to the side. Just try opening your page and see what happens. Oftentimes it's no big deal, but sometimes you might have to remove the stapler and do it again. I mean, remove the staple and do it again. So I mean, you most definitely can leave it here at just one staple. Your pages are held together, and that's the objective. But I like to just, you know, do another 2 staples here and here. And then we will move on to the second way of securing your pages together. So at this stage, I'm going to use my long arm stapler. Now you might think this is going to solve all your problems when you get it. Like I thought when I got this long arm stapler, I thought, now I'll be able to do everything. It's so easy. But still, there's quite a bit of, you know, lining up. You have to make sure, like I said before, you get the staple go in the crease. Okay, so I lined it up here. I think that looks pretty good. And off I go. Perfect. Look at that. Absolute perfection. Let's see the other side. Beautiful. Right there in the crease. Okay, that's what we're after. It doesn't always work that way, but let's see. And perfect. Perfect. So that's the staple method. And you go ahead, of course, if you like that method and you do all of your signatures with the staple method, your pages are now held together. You can, if you wish, work them in a little bit just like this. So just for demonstrato por passato, this is my prototype, the very first journal that I made where I was testing out this idea. And all of the signatures are held together with staples, and you can only see those staples in the middle of the signatures. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I think it was over here. No, it was in this journal, actually. This one also done with staples. And the very last signature, looks like I went off center with the staples. And then what happens is, you can see just a little, this is no big deal. But if you're looking for a real, like, nice profesh looking thing, you know, if your staple goes off to the side, then some of the pages, you know, it looks like it's not even worth mentioning. It's such a little detail that probably only I notice and nobody else in the world. But there's just this one page that you can see that staple went to the side. It's not right in the center of that fold. And this is what you get. It can be a little bit ugly looking. Okay, but it's really silly that I'm showing you this because it's really no big deal. But when I was binding this one, I got sick of the staples. I started hating the whole find the middle kind of business. So then I thought, how else can I keep my pages together? And of course, another method that you can use is also quite an easy one, easier than staples, is to wrap. And you might not have a stapler, you know. So now what I'm using here is just crochet, something strong. You want strong. It's a crochet thread. And just to show you a little demonstrato, this journal, the one that I made yesterday, this one is bound. Well, the signatures are held with the wrapping, the thread that I wrapped around. I don't even have to show you how to do it. It's that easy. So with this type of binding, you can see the thread here on the inside, okay? And bonus points for this is that the pages are removable. Now, personally, I wouldn't bother with removing the pages and stuff. But if you have, I mean, where is that? You can do this. You can add pages. Well, I do like that idea. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've sold you on this method, haven't I? Okay, well, let me show you how to wrap. I'm sure that you can work it out yourself, but here we go. Get your string and wrap around, but let me tell you, it's not as easy as it seems. I mean, it's quite easy, but it's not as easy as it looks. So you want to open your book, obviously, to the middle. I might put my thread on this side, and here's what I did. I don't know why. Why am I explaining in such detail? It's quite obvious what I did. And now, make it tight and wrap. So I like to go around 3 times, I think. Let's see. This is the second time. And here's the third time. So I have 3 strings inside. I might even go around the 4th time. Yes, I will do that. Okay, I wrapped around 4 times. And I'm going to tighten everything. We want to move the string kind of to the middle-ish, kind of to the crease. But we don't have to be that particular yet. You just don't want to have like strings over here. Okay, pretty straightforward. And now I'm going to cut. Okay, and let me show you a little bit closer. Here's what we have. Keep it nice and tight because otherwise everything will be too loose. So we wrapped around and now we have these 2 strings. I'm holding this string here. I'm taking this string and I'm going to go under. So I've picked up all the strings. I'm going to go under all the strings. And here we go. You see that? That's all we have. And now we tie a knot. So I'm just going to do one more time. We have left and we have right. I'm going to pick up all the strings and I'm going to use the right string to go under all the strings. You can do this up the top if you want to have little bows or something up the top, all right? Everything's held nice and tight, and now we're going to make a knot. And this is a little bit embarrassing because it's very hard to make a knot when you have like these nails, right? But there we go. We made a knot. We have one little knot. Now we're going to do another little knot. Isn't that just sweet? All right, we're going to chop just like that. I'm pretty sure this is the easiest way. And now you can arrange your strings. So what I found I like the best is to have 2 strings kind of on each side of the little point here. You can see on this side how naturally they're all kind of going to one side. I like to rearrange because I'm the boss here. I tell them what I want them to do. What I like to do over here, I use a little bit of masking tape. You can use perhaps washi tape, but I simply want to hold these bits down a little bit None of this is going to be visible. But I kind of like to secure. All right, excellent. So you can also make your journal, you can try all the different bindings. I'm going to make one journal. I'm going to have the different ways of securing. Okay, what is the third way of securing my pages? All right, I apologize in advance, okay? But I just have to include this method, okay? Because quite frankly, doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch and then having to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch through the cover, and then you have all the other signatures in place, and you have to do the measuring of the holes, and then all the other signatures are getting in your way, and everything's opening and closing when you're trying to bind. That's difficult. When you're binding one single little notebook, really, using the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, that's not difficult. That's easy. And that is why I had to, even though I said no needle, no thread, I have to do it because it's easy. So, all right, here we are. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I actually preferred doing the 3-hole pamphlet stitch on all of them. So I don't know if that's cheating, because I did say that there's no needle and thread. So perhaps it is, perhaps I'm cheating. But it doesn't get really any easier than this. You know, just binding one little notebook on its own and binding signatures into a cover, it's not quite the same thing. So I have now bound 3 of my signatures: staples, wrapping, and 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I've got 2 signatures left. I'm going to do one more 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and even better, and in fact I'm going to do it now, is to start from the outside so that your little knot is hidden over here. We're making 3 holes in that spine, and we're going to start from the outside going in. Loveliness, and then go up into the next hole, skip the middle, down into the next available hole, go back through the middle hole, and go outside. Now we're going to tie knots and perhaps a little bit of masking tape, because why not? We did it for the other ones, so let's do it for this one, or washi tape. And then you have the inside looking nice and neat. Excellent. So I wanted to say, the next one I'm going to do is the wrapping method one more time, and then we're done with this. So you absolutely have to bind your pages in one way or another. Otherwise, they're just loose pages. So what I wanted to say with this wraparound method, I'm using the crochet thing, but you can totally go for colors. You can do ribbon. You know what? I've already done the wraparound method. Perhaps I don't need to do it again. But I'm actually going to. I was going to show you something else, but I'm going to talk you through it. If you make 2 holes like this, hole number 1, hole number 2 on the other side. I'm not going to, because I'll wrap around. You can then use ribbons and stuff to bind and hold everything together. You can make it really pretty. Sky's the limit, right? And also, if you're just going to wrap around like this, you can use all different colored threads and baker's twine, and you can use ribbon here as well if you want to. I mean, imagine if you're making a fairy journal or something, or like Alice in Wonderland, or I don't know, Harry Potter. You know, the whole binding can be part of the experience. All right, here we are. Gonna grab all the strings, go underneath, and knot I shall tie nice and tight. Not only the knot, but also the binding, the wrapping. You want it nice and tight, even though it might seem like it's not that tight. I can't actually go any tighter than this, otherwise it's gonna rip through those pages, and we don't want that. And the masking tape business. Tell it, who's the boss? So how do the tages turn? How do the tages pern? The tages pern quite easily, as you can see. in all of the methods, we have the 3-hole pamphlet stitch, the cheetah, you are the cheetah. Okay, and then we have another cheetah. We have 3-hole pamphlet stitch. We have the staples, pages turn, pages turn quite perfectly if your staples are in place. If your staples are kind of off center, then we might have a problem. So what's the easiest method? What do you think would be the easiest method? They all have pros and cons. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to side with the cheetah on this one and say that the 3-hole pamphlet stitch for me, probably because I've done it millions of times before, I find it quite easy. All right, my signatures are bound. They're not like the pages are not loose. So that probably took way longer than it needed to, because the real beauty of this project really comes now. You have your signatures and they are held together in whatever way you choose. At this point, I'm just going to check that my signatures are not upside down. So I have to make sure that everything is the right way up, as I have like some images here. Sometimes just to be on the safe side, I can give myself, I can do whatever I want here, you see, because it's going to be hidden. But I like to give myself a note. Right way up. This is the way up. And now I'm going to rearrange, put the signatures in the order that I want them. So I want this one to be number 1. This one can be number 2. It doesn't matter. It's, oh, actually to me it does, because I did different bindings. You can see that, like I have this type of binding, so it's gonna look, I want it to be symmetrical. Okay. Signatures are ready, and now let the magic begin. How is everything held together? You probably already worked it out. You worked it out, haven't you? Go on, you can tell me. I'm not gonna get offended. If you want to make this project with just store-bought exercise books, this is where you start. This part of the video, you don't need any of what we've just spoken about. So probably should have told you that at the start. But I want you to be here. Be my friend today, please. Okay, let's start. Okay. Logically speaking, what we need to happen now is for these to be somehow made into one whole rather than 5 separate pieces. And the way that we're going to do this is to glue them together. Yes, I know. It's genius, isn't it? And you worked it out because you're a genius. Maybe you didn't work it out, but you know what? You're still a genius because you're still here, so you know what's good. Yes. Okay, I'll back to seriousness now. I think I'm going to have a little break soon. I'm going to have some coffee, and that's not going to calm me down. It's just going to rile me up even more, but coffee I shall have. Okay, let's glue them together. There's something quite important at this stage, and that is they need to be lined up perfectly, so that you don't have any like sort of skewed project, because then the spines are not gonna align. Okay, you see that? You want perfection, I assume. And here's how to achieve it. When we're gluing them together, first of all, you have your pages that are exactly the same. That's why I said the covers need to be exactly the same. You also do not glue this part here at all. All right, see this? See this here? No glue. None whatsoever, because if that's glued together, this is how it's gonna look, and it's not gonna have all of this gorgeous movement. Okay, so just to show you, no glue. You see that? See those spaces in between? All right, that's what we're going for. So here comes the glue. I think it's quite important to get that glue all the way to the edge, as close to the edge as possible. And then get that glue all over. And now you're going to put them together. I'm going to change the view in a moment so you can see what I'm doing. But I am just basically bringing these 2 pages together, touch them slightly here, align, and then align everything else. Beautiful. So let's have a look from a different perspective so you can see you don't want any of that. I'm sure you know this, but you want your pages really fully, oh, hi Benja, fully aligned, oh, just like little twins. And then you press together, and before the glue is dry, you want to check the other side. You see that now? You see what we've got going on? Close. Now try not to move anything while you're closing. These are the kinds of things that I'm looking at, okay? I know I go into too much detail, but that's just the way I roll. All right, next, number 3, repeat. Another way that you can make sure to align, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, you can have, this book would work if you had 10 signatures, if you had 15 signatures, if you had like 1,000 pages. It will just be a very large journal. And when you have a stack over here, you can't do this to align the papers. So what I do, as my stack over here is getting larger, instead of kind of meeting them together, marrying them, I do this. And it's good that I can have my hand here, you see, because there's no glue there. And then I go and align from this way, which you can't see because you can't tilt your head the way I'm tilting it now, but you can kind of see over here. I'm going to move it into place, just that one corner. And then I'm going to go over here and align, just like so. And you see that? Is that aligned? It is not aligned because we can see that white. So you just maneuver it into place until they are perfectly glued together so that you can't even tell looking at the journal. I bet when I was kind of showing you before the pages, when I was saying you can do stenciling, see that? I bet you didn't know that it's actually 2 pages glued together. And the reason why you didn't know is because it is done to absolute perfection. Now, you might not want absolute perfection in your life, which is absolutely fine. Probably, you know, probably easier to live life that way when you're not worried about these silly little things that I'm worrying about right now. Like everything has to be perfect. But I'm not like that in all aspects of my life. So I shall accept. I'm not OCD. However, when it comes to this type of thing, I like perfezione. By the way, another thing that I didn't do, and you might want to, is straighten out these edges. I quite like this look, so I left it. Okay, number 4. Here we are. Oh, I don't want to move this too much because I don't want my pages to be moving. I'm just going to double check that everything is nicely. Look at that. Okay, lovely. All right, so everything is nice and aligned. Everything is glued together. We have our book. Okay, we're nearly done. Honestly, if I didn't do all this talking, we could be done in 15 minutes. Maybe not 15. Okay, that's going a bit far. Okay, at this point, I like to put it under something heavy and just leave it under there for a couple of minutes, really. All right, it's been about 15 minutes. We're ready to continue. So the next thing we're going to do is, if you used a nice sturdy cardstock here, you can go ahead and cover your whole journal in a piece of fabric like this. But of course, what I want to do is just cover the spine with a pretty fabric and then go in with some type of a board on top. So you can see all of them were done exactly the same way. A little bit of fabric on the spine and then something on top. And that something is the cover. It's very sturdy and that's what I'm going for. So that's what we shall do in this tutorial. So first things first, I chose this beautiful quilting fabric. I find quilting fabric is such a they have such beautiful designs, and also they are nice and thin. Okay, you don't want, well, maybe you can go with like thick upholstery, but I'm choosing this. I'm going to cut myself a little section. In fact, I'm going to rip. I might give it a little bit of a hair straighten. This is my crafting hair my old hair straightener, but I use it here in crafting so that I don't have to get my iron out all the time. All right, so you can see I have a piece of fabric that's going to go around my spine like this, but this one is a little bit tall, and also it's not straight. I like straight edges, which is why I left myself a little bit of extra kind of fabric, because I want it slightly larger than my journal, only by a few millimeters larger. So I'm going to go in and cut and just check, slightly larger, perfect. And now I want frayed edges, so I'm going to go in and fray those edges. And of course, we'll keep all of these bits. We're going to need it for another project that I have in mind, perhaps even next week. So we're keeping all the bits, and of course all these bits as well. Keep everything. No, I'm joking, that's probably not a good idea. All right, so fabric frayed. Let's see what we've got. This is going to be my spine. Okay, so I aligned everything so that I have the same amount of fabric on the bottom, which you can't really see, but it's peeking out, and on top as well. So now I'm just going to mark myself where I want the glue to kind of go. And at this point again, it's important not to put any glue on the spine. We're not gluing the spine, and also leave a little bit of space here. So I apply glue from here to about where my fabric ends. All right. So no glue along the spine. That's what gives everything the movement, and your pages open fully and flat and all that kind of jazz. And now when I put the fabric on top, I kind of squish this down a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. And then I move the fabric in place. You want the same amount of squishiness up the top and down the bottom. All right, that's one side done. Since I have a little bit of glue seeping out, I'm just gonna pop a book page down, turn it around, and repeat the process. So this is where I should stop with the glue, and this is where I should start. Go all the way to the edge, up the top and down the bottom. And now squish it down a little bit, not too much. Move it into place. Glue it down. This is what the top looks like. This is what the bottom looks like. I don't want to have a whole lot of space down the bottom and less up here. So that's what I meant by the same amount of squishiness on both sides. Excellent. Okay, that's the spine. And now, what do we do now? I'm sure you know what we do now. Now you can, let's grab anything. You can take a piece of scrapbook paper and glue it on top. So mark yourself how much you need up here and down here. Cut it down, glue it on top, and you are done. Yeah, but I like to be a little extra and create a profesh hardcover, real sturdy book. That's what I like to do, and that's what we shall do now. Now we are making the final piece, the front and back cover, and I like to use a cereal box. You can use chipboard, something real quite thick. You can repurpose existing books covers, but this is what I do. I want sturdiness, so I'm going to put 2 of these together like so. Put a little bit of double-sided tape just to hold it in place. Remove. And I also like to go in with a bit of glue. I don't want it moving too much when I'm cutting it to size. And then place this on top. So if you can see, I put the colored kind of printed side and glossy side together. Lovely. Now we're going to get rid of all the excess. At this point, we're just creating a nice straight edge on one side and another nice straight edge. 2 straight edges is all we need at this point. And now we do a little bit of measuring. Actually, not measuring, it's marking. Do you want your cover to start here all the way? If you do, then you mark yourself here. That's where you need to cut. I like my cover somewhere around here, and I like it maybe to extend a little bit extra over that first page. So I'll mark myself where I need to cut, and then I need to mark the height. I'm just aligning it this way and marking the exact same height. Okay, and now I have these two marks here and here, and that's where I need to cut. And cut away and cut the bottom, and here's my first panel. So let's see how it's gonna look. It's gonna look like this. Perfect. Now we need exactly the same size piece. You can use this as your template for the back cover, so you get another cereal box or whatever you're using, and you use this as your template and you cut it down to the exact same size. And then you have two exact same size, front cover, back cover. Look at this, perfection, exact same size, stirred, lovely. And now we shall cover it with something, so you can go ahead and cover it with whatever you want. Pretty paper, scrapbook paper, fabric, what else? I don't know, napkin, tissue paper. You can do faux leather look, so many things. But what I'm going to do is cover it in this pretty scrapbook paper. And I want this to be, you know, the visible side, and it's got this kind of line in the middle, so I kind of want it to be centered. So it has to be about that much, and I'm cutting a piece that's larger all the way around than my front cover. Marked myself where I need to cut and cut away. So in this whole process of journal making, the hardest thing and the thing that takes the most time is making decisions. What fabric goes well with what paper, and what should I put at the front? That is the thing that takes up the most time. So luckily, I already decided all of that last night. Okay, we have our panel, we have our thing, and now we're gonna glue this onto this. I don't like to use double-sided tape at this point because this is gonna be visible at front, and over time, double-sided tape can, you know, seep through the oiliness of it. Glue it down. Just want to check that that line is in the middle. Perfect. All right, that's glued down. Now we're going to wrap. So miter the corners, leave a little bit of space, and fold just like this. Perfect. And now at this point, I don't mind a little bit of double-sided tape because this is all hidden between thick layers, and I don't need to worry about any seeping through. So apply a little bit on all four sides. Remove the backing. And because I lost all of my trust in double-sided tape, I do not believe it's gonna hold my project long term, so I'm going to also apply glue. Double-sided tape is basically there just to hold it in place while the real deal is drying. So double-sided tape is it's a little helper. Glue down two opposing sides, just like so. So here's what we have working for us so far. If I put this down, you can see that corner is not perfect, and this corner kind of is. Let's see this side. If I just put it down as it is, you know, it's not too bad. But I like to really make sure everything's looking nice and profesh. All right, so we're gonna smush that down like so. Bring this in a tiny little bit. Oh, where am I? All the way out there. Is that coffee? I'm telling you, that coffee is making me so jittery. Now that that's done, we shall apply the glue and the glue it down. Oh, isn't that just lovely? And now we're going to smush it all down. Don't worry about glue seeping through because none of this is going to be visible. Well, the corners are going to be visible, so you want to make sure. Okay, repeat the process on the other side. Look, so pretty. But before we continue, another little thing that you can do here to make it look even more profesh is to slightly round those corners, just slightly, you know, so you have nice finished kind of a look. Okay, front cover is ready to go, or is it? I'm gonna do just a little bit of inking to make it look even more profesh. Here's a little tip that perhaps you didn't know. I didn't know this. I always used to do this. Okay, but did you know that you can get more ink on your dauber by doing this. So you're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. See how much ink there is? Especially when your ink pad is already on its deathbed. And at this point, another little thing I like to do is just to add a bit of darkness to the very corners, just like that. Oh yes, isn't that pretty? Hello journal, and hello the cover. At this point, you might want to decide what your little book plate is going to be. If you're going to put something on front, if you're just going to glue it on, it's fine to keep going. But if you're going to be using like brads and prongs, you might want to do that. So the prongs are on the inside here before you glue it down, so that your inside page is prong free. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is marry the two. If you object to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. No? Okay, we shall proceed. Okay, here's what I like to do. I like to mark myself the fabric side. So I know this is the fabric side because I like to use a fabric glue or some type of a stronger glue. And also, you see how my pages are protruding out. If I glue this piece exactly on top of that first page, then the cover's not going to be covering my pages over here, which I prefer to kind of have this look. So I know from moving it away that I'm going to have this much space on the inside. All right, so here's what I do. This is my kind of spine or fabric piece, so I'm not going to go all the way to the edge with this glue. I'm going to go all the way to the edge, up the top and down the bottom, all the way. Apply glue all over on the inside and go almost all the way to the edge over here. Remember, I'm going to be a little bit of this edge is going to be visible, so I don't want to glue. And also, you know me, I like to really go overboard with things, so I also apply the glue onto these edges too. I'm holding this bottle so weirdly because I've been having thumb pain. I'm probably getting arthritis from all this bookmaking. All right, that's ready to go. This is ready to go, but I want to apply some type of a stronger glue on the fabric side. So I'm just going to go in with this art glitter glue. If I didn't have this, I would use fabric glue because I really want to make sure that this is really stuck down. I do not want space. I'll show you what I mean. See my finished book here? I don't want any opening here. I don't want any gapage here because it doesn't look good. It has to be fully flush, glued down completely if you're going for a professionally looking, beautiful handmade book. Now, I'll have to show you this from a different perspective. When I go to glue down, I turn this book towards me. I turn the fabric side towards the fabric side. All right, just like so. And then I grab the top piece. And first, I line it up here. I know it's hard to see. It's hard to do this with the camera in front of me, because the top and bottom are exactly the same height. First, I want to put it into place, perhaps move it up a bit. That's looking good. How's it looking over here? It's looking good. This is what I want to avoid. You see this? All this? That's not acceptable. And now we shall proceed. When you're happy with the placement, make sure it's nice and straight. Glue, glue, glue. Press, press, press. Then I turn it this way. It's flat on my desk. And really press. Oh, if you only could see the position I'm in over here. This is difficult. But sometimes this is just what you gotta do. You gotta do. Okay, check. Everything's looking fine before things start drying. My fabric is slightly too long, but that's okay. I can always trim it, give it a little haircut. We already straightened its hair. We might as well give it a haircut. Okay, when that is done, you want to put this under something heavy, but not like this. You want to do it like this. Open it up. This has to be standing up, so you can put something that's going to hold it standing up. This is what I use to have it standing up. And then you put a heavy book right in there, just like so. Okay, and while that's drying, you go ahead and repeat the exact same process for the back cover. Here it is, back cover is ready to go. I shall be perfectly honest with you, this isn't dry yet, and I wouldn't be continuing until this is dry. But I'm filming, so I'm just gonna have to, and then I'll dry them both like this. All right, so now to apply the back cover, again, it has to go this way. Make sure it's the right way up. And this is my fabric side over here. And now we shall repeat the steps. Okay, I'm gonna keep it in this view because it's easier for me. Open it up, lining the top edge and the bottom edge up, leaving a little bit of space up here. Line it all up nicely. Perfect. Isn't that just lovely? Oh, I want to smushity smush. Get in there and glue it down. Proper. Like really get in there. You don't want to mess this up. This is the important part. When you are satisfatto, get your little standy uppy thing. Put something heavy on top. And since this side isn't dried yet, I'm gonna add another couple of books on this side so that both sides can dry. Usually I would just do one side at a time, but anyway, we are filming. I'm turning it this way so you can see what's going on. The journal standing up, front cover and back cover completely flat against the desk, something heavy on top to make sure that every single little nook and cranny is glued down. I'll leave that for now, give it a 15 minutes or so, and I'll be right back. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Let's reveal, shall we? Everything is looking quite nice, and now for the final touch, a little book plate. I have this thing that I made a little while ago when I was doing my 20-minute scrap bust, and of course I picked it in advance because, you know, that takes time. What should I put on front? Anyway, I really like how this looks, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue it on. Perfection. And let's have a look. So by not gluing this section, when we're gluing the signatures and also the fabric, we are ensuring that there's movement. You see this? That's why it can open all the way. That's also why it lays flat. And absolutely any way you turn the page, I mean, bonus, right? Any way you turn, it doesn't matter the way that you bound, 3-hole pamphlet stitch, staples, wrapping. This is a huge bonus to any journal. Look at this. Flat, completely flat. Isn't that marvelous? I can't even tell you how excited I am about this because let me just say, when I film videos, tutorials and stuff, sometimes the filming process takes 5 hours, 5.5 hours, 6 hours, okay? I made a whole journal today. I don't really know how long it took because there were the breaks, you know, the coffee break and then another coffee break and then the drying and all that kind of stuff. But I made this thing in this tutorial today and these two yesterday. Oh my goodness, look at this. And then these beauties. So this one here was my prototype, and I'll tell you what I did here that taught me a lesson, let's say. Perhaps a little mistake that I did. I left too much slack on the spine. And then what happens when you have a little bit too much slack is your journal kind of, how can I explain? Well, I can't explain it, but I can show you. So especially if you don't have a lot of embellishments here on the side and you don't have a lot of things, I have some things in there, but it slants downwards, okay? Whereas if this was tighter, it would hold it up and it would be nice and level. So that might be something that you prefer. Like, for example, I'm shaking the camera. See this? I prefer this look, okay? As opposed to this slanty look. Now, if you made this fabric too tight, like this, you wouldn't have movement here. This is just one of those things that you kind of learn as you go, but hopefully by explaining it, you don't have to kind of make a mistake. You see all that space in there? Too much space when I squeeze. Whereas, let's have a look at this one. When I squeeze, I don't know if you can even see the difference, but you can see here, like there's no extra fabric that I can grab. I don't know if this is helping, whereas here, look at this, extra fabric. It's really like 1/2 centimeter difference. It's really not that much. Let's have a look at today's. See this? And look at it, nice and level. Doesn't it look just stunning? I love the look of the pages on the side. And this one, I love the waviness because it's been tea dyed. And then this one's got all sorts of fabrics on the edge of the pages. I just can't get enough of this. So let me show you what it looks like inside. I'm not going to go through the pages because you know what the pages look like. This is the join. You see this? And this is the middle. That's when I did the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. This is a second join. It's joining second and third signature together. And Banjo is deciding to join us. Hello, little poop. Le poop. That's another join. Here's the wrapping method. And another join. Hey, Banjo, would you like to come to say hello? Do you want to say hello? And this is the staple. Staple method. Banjo, come. Come.
Give me those little paws.
Hello. Okay. You can go back to sleep. All right, what else did I want to show you? I'll just show you each one of them, perhaps a little bit close up, so you can get some ideas and all the things that you can do. So that's what I did for the book plate kind of thing. I used the same fabric over here. It's very busy, and I realized I love the busy look as opposed to this look. I really think this looks more beautiful, but each to their own, you know. And this is just a little bit of this and a bit of that. I kind of made all of these pieces. This came out of a sticker book. Anyway, this is all boring stuff. I'm not going to go into that. I'll just quickly kind of show you the kind of thing that I have in here. So this is all journal, junk journal type. So you have book pages and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Fabrics. I like the fabric on top as well. So you can see from the top, gorgeous. And I have some little pockets and, you know, the usual stuff that we do with journals or junk journals. Fun, fun, fun. And they all have the exact same amount of pages. 10 pages per signature gives you 200 size. And plus, we've also added this section. So we have 4 of these. So there's 8 extra sides. So 208 sides. All right. Now this one, I made this one last night. And that's the book plate I went with. I have these cork things, and I had this chipboard little thing. Put in a little flower that goes with the orange and little bling pieces, and that's it. Look at this beautiful fabric. Gorgeous. How well this is what I mean. Like this, just this here took me, you're not going to believe this. I couldn't believe it myself. It took me an hour and a half because initially I was going to use, where are you, my precious? I was going to use this book plate that I had ready made. And then I thought, oh, that doesn't look too good. What do you like better? This or this? You know what I mean? That's the thing that takes the most amount of time. What fabric I'm going to use, what scrapbook paper I'm going to use, what book plate I'm going to use. Okay, this one here is just tea dyed and just, you know, papers that I have in my stash. Then we have this one. I don't know what's going on with my light. Nothing I can do about that. So here's the fabric that I used. Gorgeous dragonflies with the gold, and then scrapbook paper. All of these scrapbook papers are from Kaiser Craft that I got years and years ago. And then this is a stamp, you know. I made this book plate. Lovely. And then inside, what did I do? Again, the same kind of thing with the papers. I just love including all different, you know the deal. The kind of thing that we like to include. Look at this flatness. Glorious. Sorry about that. I just got overtaken by emotion. And then the prototype. The prototype, I have longer pages, shorter pages, you see, and perhaps that's also another reason why it's slanting down. And this is also junk journal style type of thing. And this is all done with staples. Loveliness galore. Look at it, look. It's Easter egg dies. Oh yes, a bit of this, and a bit of that, and a bit of this, and a bit of that. So, oh, pockets too. And some modeling paste. Quite fun. Shall we marvel? Look. I mean, look at this. I mean, is there anything more to say? This is just, to me, absolutely glorious. So with that glorious glory, I'm gonna end this video here. Please, please, please leave me a comment if you haven't already. And if you have, leave me another one, because you know, why not? Please let me know what you think of this project. And have you done this before, and are you planning to do it? Or maybe you've done it while watching the video. Even better, let me know. Let me tell you, after doing a journal this way, I'm finding it really hard to believe that I'm going to go back to the old way, you know, because the sewing into the cover, that process drives me absolutely crazy. I hate it, you know. I do not enjoy it. And not only do I like this easy process, but I also love the finished result. I absolutely love how these things look, journals. And I always say that about a project. Every project I make is my new baby, like it's my new favorite thing, right? Last week when I did the faux handmade paper, that was my new baby. It was my new favorite thing. Well, now this 100% is my new favorite thing. And I think it's going to stay there. It's going to stay at the top for a while. That's what I think. But I want to know what you think. Please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.